Chapter 27. Ugly Boys Gotta Go to School Today. There are a lot of kids that don't really like to go to school. Eddie and the boys were part of that group, but for their own reasons. First, it was a mile hike to the bus stop. Second, the other kids at school were mean. Third, the thermometer was hovering around 0 that winter morning. And fourth, Perry, their foster brother, was rubbing it in. Because Perry was only there temporarily, or so they thought, he hadn't been enrolled in school right away. Instead, he'd sit around the house all day while the boys were away at school, thinking of ways to be aggravating. This particular morning, he was prancing around the house chanting, "Ugly boys gotta go to school today. Pretty boys stay home. Ugly boys gotta go to school today. Pretty boys stay home." It made Eddie so mad he wanted to do something to Perry that would make him, well, not so pretty. "Mom, it's freezing outside," the boys complained. Looking past the frozen nail heads on the dining room wall and out the window at about a foot of snow, they begged to stay home. At that moment, their father stepped out of his bedroom. He'd always been a proponent of hardy living. He was accustomed to roughing it. Surely his sons weren't concerned about a little cold weather. "What are you boys talking about?" he asked. He looked out the window. "You call that cold? Why, a little snow's nothing to be afraid of. Here, let me show you." And with that, their father skinned right down to his birthday suit. In a second, he was out the back door. The boys looked out the window in bewilderment as they watched their dad race around the house naked as a jaybird. He'd occasionally fling some snow in the air or fire off a snowball at the house. On the third lap, just before he came back inside, he lay down in the deepest snowbank of all and whooped as he made a snow angel. The most amazing part of it was the way he nonchalantly walked back in the house and slipped on his robe as if nothing had happened. The boys stood staring, speechless. Then they heaved a sigh and gathered their school books. After a demonstration like that, what could they say? The ugly boys were heading to school.